What's up, Yichi here. In this video, we're going to talk about 8 things you should know before you get your real estate license. I sure wish I knew these things. Let's jump right in. The first thing, living in a 100% commission environment is no joke. Now, for most of my life, I was salaried. I worked in audit. I worked in software engineering. And there was a certain comfort knowing that every other Thursday or Friday, I would get paid my paycheck. There was a certain safety element, right? Because you knew no matter what, unless you got fired or your company went bankrupt, you were going to get paid. Now that's a huge pro. And the con of that is, when you get a performance review and you do great work, ultimately what ends up happening is most of the time, instead of getting rewarded for more pay, you get rewarded with more work. So that was the one downside of the salary. 100% commission environment is way different. You have to shift your mindset and the way you live completely differently. If you have bills coming up, you gotta pay them, and you're not necessarily guaranteed a paycheck unless you close a deal. So make sure you have a buffer, make sure that you're ready to grind, and make sure you can tolerate the stress of potentially not getting paid every other Wednesday or Thursday. But if you don't mind hustling and you're okay with that sort of lifestyle and that mentality, and you're consistent and non-complacent, that 100% commission environment could be right for you, because the more you work, the more you get paid. Number 2, this career is a grind. For example, I closed 7 deals last month, and the following month, I knew I was gonna get those commission invoices paid to me, so I kind of took it easy. I stopped prospecting, I golfed, I chilled, whatever, I enjoyed my life, and immediately I felt the effects of taking my foot off the gas because money didn't come in as much the next month. So even if you're getting a bunch of deals done, if you're not continuously prospecting for new clients, man, does that money stop quick. So remember, this job is a non-stop grind. And as previously mentioned, if you're not getting deals done, you're not getting paid. Number 3, there is no weekend, right? For most of my life, Friday, I was gonna say 5 p.m., but realistically Friday at like 11:45, mentally you've tapped out. Even 11:45 is kind of a stretch. It's more like Thursday you've tapped out. But anyways, typically, like, you're relaxing those 2 days when you shut off your laptop with a standard salary role. You're done. You're not thinking about work, right? But there are no weekends as a realtor. If a client asks you a question at 11 p.m. on a Thursday, Sunday, whatever, Christmas, you have to respond. Otherwise, you're not going to get paid and you're going to lose the client. So it's a complete mentality switch, but also a complete lifestyle switch. Me and my partner, we kind of have to adapt because she is the weekends free, but weekends are actually most busy for me because you got open houses, you have clients who are only available for showings on the weekend or appointments on the weekend. And even the weekdays, most of my appointments and showings are in the evening. So this job, it's kind of like working like a night shift. Everything's swapped. So you have to mentally prepare for that. Your lifestyle is going to be completely different from most folks, which is great because I can run my errands on a weekday morning where everyone's stuck at work and I don't have to wait in line and I don't have to be stuck in traffic. So if you're okay with that lifestyle adjustment, there are a lot of pros and there is a lot of flexibility. But like I said, there are no weekends. Number 4, as Bob Dylan once said, you gotta serve somebody. So although I don't have a boss, although I don't have, weekly meetings with my team, my clients are my boss and I have to serve them no matter what. So even though you have this sort of entrepreneurial environment where you're not taking meetings with your team, or you aren't, you don't have a boss, you gotta respond to your clients still. So, and it can be even more stressful because you got multiple clients, all with different wants and needs, and you have to respond to them as soon as possible. So you gotta still serve somebody. Number 5, you move around a lot in this job. Now, prior to becoming a realtor, I was a full stack software engineer working from home, and I would average about a ticket a day and about 16 steps a day. Didn't move around much, and I don't even think I left the home at all during work days, most work days. So that was definitely something that I had to get used to. In this year alone, I got a car in June, and it is now November. I have already put 12,000 kilometers in that car. So yeah, you move around a lot. The beautiful part of it is you're feeding two birds with one stone because you're doing so many showings and appointments and meeting all sorts of people. Sometimes I wear my like fitness watch, and I'll see after like a set of showings that I've walked like 5 or 10K. So you really get to stay healthy with this job because you're moving around a lot, which is really good. But I'm not gonna lie, there are days where I wish I could just be a potato at home and, have no motivation to leave the house. So yeah, be prepared to move around a lot in this job. Number 6, the competition is absurd. Now, I think there's something like 73,000 realtors in the GTA, and the 80-20 rule applies to this industry. It's more like 95-5, where a small subset of realtors, highly successful realtors, do most of the business. Now, the reason for this is because the barrier to entry in this field is so low. You need a couple $1,000 and you just need to pass some exams, which are really, to be honest, quite easy. Link in the description if you have any questions on how to get your license, but really the barrier to entry is extremely low. Take it from me, I've done 4 different industries, and this is perhaps the easiest one to break into, and that's why there's so much competition. But if you're able to persist and grind, the only competition you have is really against yourself. And to frame it differently, even if you're like a software engineer, you may think, oh, there's not as much competition, but the world is global now. Everything is connected. Even if you're a software engineer in Toronto, you're competing with that software engineer in Hyderabad, right? Because anyone can do the work nowadays. So I guess the realtor world is competitive, but I guess the entire world is competitive now. So it's not really something to deter you if you really want to become a realtor. Number 7, you are responsible for you. Unlike traditional jobs where there's daily check-in meetings or quarterly reviews with your team based on to check your performance, no one is waking you up in the morning except for you. So if you're someone who needs external factors to motivate you and get you going, maybe this job isn't for you. But if you're quote unquote self-motivated, then you'll be put to the test in this job. I thought I was self-motivated, but man, there are days even for me where I'm like, oh, I don't want to do anything. So if you're self-motivated, you will definitely be put to the test with this career. Number 8, everything is an opportunity. And let me tell you what I mean by that. So prior to becoming a realtor, I was a software engineer, right? And you would go about the world and you wouldn't really like expect or need anything from anyone. So you would just, at least this is my experience, I would just go about the world. I wouldn't make small talk with people in the elevator. I wouldn't say hi to people, because very rarely can someone really help you. At least that was my mindset, and it was a really negative mindset, right? Maybe you knew someone at a party and that person knew someone who was hiring for a job. Okay, sure. But it was very rare. As a realtor, everything is an opportunity. Everybody needs housing. Everyone needs to sell or buy an investment property. Maybe they want to lease. So literally everybody you talk to can be an opportunity. So you really have to rethink how you go about the world. And as someone who is kind of like introverted and to myself, I knew I had to change that, and I didn't know becoming a realtor would be a great way to actually ultimately change that. So yeah, everything is an opportunity, and you really have to go about the world in a different manner. At least I know I had to. So those are the 8 things you should know about prior to becoming a realtor. Now, I vaguely knew about these things, but until you actually experience them firsthand, you don't really appreciate what I mean. It's like if you haven't run a marathon before, it's going to be hard, but until you actually go through it, you won't really understand. So yeah, all I can do is provide you information, and if you are okay with everything, then 100% jump right in, and it will be a very challenging but rewarding lifestyle and career choice. If you have any other questions about becoming a realtor, feel free to reach out. All my information is in the description below, but that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.